Today we're taking a tour on the Belle of Louisville.
Oh, we're starting to. She was actually commissioned to be built at the James Reese and Sons shipyard at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and her first name was the Idlewild. Every now and again we'll have somebody on board who rode her as the Idlewild. We're glad to have you with us again. She stayed under that name even with different owners until 1947. Then she was sold to a man named J. Garrett Gorsuch, and less than a year later, he changed the name of the boat to the Avalon. She became the Avalon in February of 1948, and then just a couple months after that, she was sold again to a group of investors from Cincinnati who actually formed a company called the Avalon Steamboat Company. And she ran under that name all the way until she was renamed in 1962. Well, you know, as time goes on, excursion boats like her, especially steam-powered, pretty expensive to run, actually, under steam. The group of investors decided in September of 1961 that they were not going to continue her another season. They were going to put her up for demolition. A most sorry fate, because by that time the Avalon was literally the last of the original steam-powered boats on the inland waterways still carrying passengers for excursion cruises, and that would have been an extremely sorry loss, to say the least. But as fate would have it, a newspaper reporter from Cincinnati said, you know, we're going to get a lot more public relations value if we put this boat up for auction instead of just letting her be demolished. And with 2 days to spare, he got a court order to stop the demolition, and up for auction she went. And in May of 1962, she was auctioned off to the Jefferson County government. We had two governments at that time, a county and a city. Auctioned off to Jefferson County government for that incredibly low price of $35,000. It was the highest of the bids, but a very small price for this boat. Today she would be considered priceless. Well, the Avalon was then towed to Louisville, couldn't run on her own at that point. And in October of 1962, she was renamed the Belle of Louisville, and that is exactly what she is today. She is Louisville's legendary lady, and all because of the construction of the boat in 1914 and the care she's gotten along the way, including after being named the Belle of Louisville. So you are really on an exceptional experience today, being part of the last of her kind, the last of these boats that was built as a packet boat, still operating under steam, and the last boat from the steamboat era that is still operating on the inland waterways today. So thrilled we are to have you. Be sure, because we're just now going under the 2nd Street Bridge, be sure to visit our engine room. You can go down there pretty soon. We'll be under that bridge pretty soon, and then they take the lines down, and you can go down to the engine room and check out how our mechanics, technologically, we operate very similarly to the steamboats of the 1850s. Not much difference.
Now we're in the engine room. Showing how much pressure is on this thing. Showing 82 pounds, 182 pounds. There's 4 arms going, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. Saw the steam blowing off the engine. I'm going backwards with these pictures, but building up. That's downtown Louisville. If I can get this where you can read it. Oops, too close. Too close.
(1860) structure. Still there. Now today they have some scaffolding around a good portion of it. They're doing a lot of exterior restoration work. You can imagine a structure built in 1860 is showing some signs of wear by now. So they're doing some work there. But it is still the original building. The center section is huge. It held 2 steam-powered engines going from below ground to the ceiling. And those engines pumped water out of the river and into the piping in 1860 that went directly to homes and businesses. Of course, they were taking it straight out of the river and delivering it to you straight out of the river as well. We wouldn't want that to happen today. In 1860, this was the very first commercial water system. You could go to the river and get your own bucket of water, or go to a well and get your water, but you had to carry it 1 or 2 buckets at a time, and sometimes for quite a distance. So even though folks were skeptical about paying for a water system, they figured out the convenience of having water come straight to you was far better than going to the river or a well and getting a bucket at a time. Oh, hey folks, let's take a notice over here on our port side. This open area here is called Duffy's Landing on purpose, because at one time this was the spot of a shipyard owned by the Duffy family. Now, there were a lot of shipyards in this area. I mentioned earlier, there were as many as 5 at any one time in Jeffersonville alone. We had the Duffy family, we had the Barmore family, Howard family, Jeffersonville Boat and Machine Company, you name it, it was probably here building boats. The demand was so great that the number of shipyards equaled the amount of demand. Now, one historian has said that 75% of all the boats built for the inland waterways were built on the Ohio River. And I can imagine that's true just based on the number of shipyards at Louisville and southern Indiana. So Duffy's Landing, there's actually a sign out there. People use it now as a picnic area. But at one time, it was a very busy shipyard.
the black hole. Sing for my soul. Through the black hole. To make myself whole again. I'll give you my love. Can't give you my love. No, I'll give you my love. Can't give you my love. I'll give you my love. Into the black hole.